Today we are solving the one and only could not translate hostname error. Every device on the internet has an address. There are two versions. IPv4 looks like this, 4 groups of numbers. This is the older standard. There are about 4.3 billion possible addresses, and we've basically run out of them. IPv6 looks like this. It is longer, more addresses, but the same job, so it is the replacement. The problem is that they are not compatible. An IPv4 only machine cannot reach an IPv6 only address. It's like having a phone that only dials 7-digit numbers trying to call an 11-digit number, and the format simply doesn't match. And the direct database connection in Supabase resolves to an IPv6 address by default. So if the server, hosting provider, or home network is IPv4 only, the connection attempt fails. We only need two commands here. First, let's find out if our machine has an IPv6 address. Here we can see that local address is IPv4. We can also check it on the test ipv6.com. Now let's run nslookup command to see an IPv6 record for our Supabase host. A quad A is a DNS record that holds an IPv6 address. We can also check for a record which holds IPv4. In this case, we don't have an IPv4 add-on enabled now, so we receive no answer here. There are 4 solutions in this case. The first is supervisor connection strings. They are IPv4 compatible alternatives to the direct connection, and there are 2 modes, transaction and session. You can check the other video on connecting to a database that explains the differences. Honestly, for most cases, this is the answer. You probably already tried using the Pooler strings, and Supervisor has always had an IPv4. Next, Supabase client libraries like Supabase.js do not open direct connections to the database. When you use the SDK, you are connecting to the Data API, a Postgres service, which has its own connection pooler separate from Supavisor and pgbouncer. You initialize the client using your project URL and either anon or service role key. If you're using new keys, that would be publishable in secret keys. From there, you can send API requests to all the services in the Supabase project: database, authentication, storage, real-time, and edge functions. Since the SDK connects to the Data API over HTTPS rather than making direct database connections, it works on both IPv4 and IPv6 networks without any issues. The exception here would be if you're using direct connection string and ORMs like Drizzle or Prisma. The third option is to enable IPv4 add-on, and for this you will need to have a paid plan. We will go to project settings, then add-ons, dedicated IPv4 address, and enable IPv4 add-on. In general, this should take less than a minute and it will cost $4 per month. And this assigns a dedicated IPv4 address to your project. Now let's check the addresses once again using nslookup. We should now see our IPv4 address linked to our Supabase project. The same host now works from anywhere. We will not see our IPv6 address since the existing quad A record is updated to an A record pointing to IPv4 address. This means that existing connections are expected to persist as they have already resolved to IPv6 address, but new connections will be established against the IPv4 address. You can also enable or disable the IPv4 add-on using Management API. Here is a quick example of the patch request sent to billing add-ons endpoint, where we need to pass add-on variant and add-on type, and the delete request to billing add-ons and add-on variant, in this case IPv4 default. Both requests should not return a response, but we should see this update in the Supabase Studio. Finally, many modern cloud providers support IPv6 but don't enable it by default, so if there is such an option, you can enable it there. To summarize, the Supabase direct host is IPv6 by default. If your environment is IPv4 only, you can use Pooler connection, use Supabase SDKs, pay for an add-on, or enable IPv6 on your end if possible. And that's the IPv4 and IPv6, 2 commands to diagnose, several ways to fix it. In the previous video, we covered what's in the connection string and which one to use. Now you know what to do when the direct connection fails. Next, we will set up the custom roles with specific permissions so our team members could only access selected schemas and tables. Thank you.